that was fighting for gay rights, and people were killed.
Nobody was killed at Stonewall.
Nobody was killed.
This is a picture of the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 2, next to the winner of Season 3. What neither of them knew in this moment was that NPB FAG, also known as Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia, was gonna play a pivotal role in creating the building blocks of society for the next generations. If you followed me on Twitter or any other socials, you'll know how I was a fan of Nicole Paige Brooks for years. So naturally, when she was rumored to be on AllStar's 10, I was rejoiced by the fact that she was about to be platformed to a now mega-sized audience that probably had never even watched Season 2. While I knew that most people would end up liking her once her bracket aired, what I didn't expect was how obsessed everyone else was. It was like if all my years of standing Nicole had culminated to this moment. That's when I knew I had to make a video about her. So let's dive into the drag career of our diva, Nicole Paige Brooks. But before we start, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that helps you stand out online. Whether you're getting started or trying to grow what you've already built, Squarespace gives you everything in one place. Your domain, a custom site, tools to grow your brand, you name it. I used to put off making a website forever. I thought it'd be way too complicated and time-consuming, but then I tried Squarespace, and it was surprisingly easy. Their Blueprint AI basically asks you a few questions about what you want to make, and then it gives you a layout that already looks good. From there, it's just drag, drop, tweak, and done. And something that I didn't expect to love is the built-in SEO tools. Squarespace handles things like meta descriptions and sitemaps automatically, so your site actually shows up in search results without you needing to be some tech genius. So if there's something that you've been thinking of launching, maybe a project, a store, or a portfolio, take this as your sign to finally do it. Click the link in the description below to head to Squarespace. Start your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, let's begin. The story of Nicole Paige Brooks is so different from most other queens you've seen on this channel. This is an individual that truly is living her life for no one else but herself. Granted, that's not to imply that all the other Ru girls actively try to pander towards parts of the fan base, but you can tell sometimes, even with the realest queens in the franchise, that there's always a little bit of thought being put into trying to act a certain way or create a product that is slightly tailored to what they know the fan base is gonna enjoy. Bring in Nicole Paige Brooks, a queen that's been around before RuPaul's Drag Race ever became a thing. Nicole was born on July 9th, 1973. I say this because July 9th would go on to be a significant date over 50 years later, but we'll get to that later on in this video. She often moved around a lot growing up, between being in the US and Germany. This means that yes, there is an alternate universe where she ends up staying in Germany and goes to compete on Drag Race Germany Season 1 alongside Tessa Testicle. Fortunately, she was only raised in Germany till she was 16 years old. That's when she moved back to the United States. This time for good. But anyways, how she went on to navigate her life would serve as a parallel to the obsession people had with her. This was someone that knew she was a star. Even in 2007, she was uploading MySpace videos, trying to grow her following there.
Hi, I'm Nicole Paige Brooks, and thank you for adding me to your MySpace. This is my friend Rogue Nation, and we are from Atlanta, Georgia. And I just want to let you know if you wanted to get to know me.
Now, Nicole's real name is Brian, which is the same name as Katya and Trixie, two of the biggest stars in the franchise. This means that if you have the name Brian, your drag career will have astronomical leaps of success in the future. The first time she ever got into drag was in the early 1990s. For Halloween, her roommate Micah did her makeup for her. It was gonna be just a silly and one-time thing, since even in the drag world, queens often joke about how every year, a bunch of gays will get into drag for the first time, and then they'll never do it again. Only, over the next couple weeks, she began hanging out with a lot of queens in the community that were encouraging her to do drag again. They ended up convincing her, and had her be a part of an AIDS benefit show called Studs to Stars, where the winner was whoever raised the most money in tips. Even going into this though, Nicole was only planning on getting into drag as a favor for her friends, rather than out of pure interest. But then there was a huge plot twist. She ended up winning the whole thing that day. It's important to note that at this point in time, Nicole Paige Brooks' drag name was simply Nicole Paige. because she hadn't yet met the Brooks Dynasty. After doing the AIDS benefit show, the person who organized the event ended up booking Nicole into more and more benefit shows around town. Officially though, Nicole attributes the year 1995 to be the start of her drag career. For the next 3 years, she continued doing drag, but given that she was still a newbie queen, she was getting her makeup done by other queens who helped her out, even doing her wigs for her. It wasn't until the year 1999, when she moved to Atlanta, Georgia, that she actually started focusing on developing her makeup skills and wig styling tricks. All because of a queen by the name of Shauna Brooks. Shauna Brooks ended up becoming Nicole's drag mother, adopting her into the Brooks Dynasty. Throughout the first 10 years of Nicole's drag career, she actually got banned from a considerable amount of bars that she was invited to perform into, which is no surprise to anyone that knows her. Anyways, Shauna Brooks really wanted to help Nicole build a good base to her drag persona, and told Nicole that the reason it was essential for her to not rely on other queens to put her in drag was so that when people came up to her and complimented her on how she looks, she would now have the power to say, "Thank you, I did it all myself." When Nicole first moved to Atlanta, Georgia, she expected it to be a normal continuation of how she'd been doing drag before. But everything changed when she saw Shauna Brooks perform for the first time. She described seeing her as this super mesmerizing moment where she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Shauna had this insane stage presence, able to hit beats in the music that you didn't even realize were there. Nicole started stalking her around Atlanta like a super fan, and eventually they ended up becoming close friends.
Say that way.
Say hi, Mama.
Hey, Mama.
No, just keep looking in the mirror. Ladies, right here with Shauna Brooks at Lake on Thursday night. It is Thursday, right? Yeah.
As they bonded, they became drag family. Shauna kind of acted as her protector too. Being around Shauna meant that Nicole was safe, respected, and left alone. That kind of chosen family vibe became really important to her, and she would try to pass it on later by adopting drag children of her own. The Brooks Dynasty is actually a really elaborate set of queens that has expanded generations upon generations. It's why eventually we had situations like Mistress Isabel Brooks and Nicole both being part of the Brooks family, given that some of the original Brooks members ended up moving to other cities in the country, which is how the different strains started happening. But we'll get to Mistress and Nicole in just a second. Nicole's relationship with Shauna clearly had a huge impact on how she sees drag. It's not just about what happens on stage, it's about what a drag mother does in shaping who you are. You can watch this video I made earlier this year if you want to know more about drag mother and daughter connections. Essentially though, it's thanks to Shauna Brooks that Nicole would end up having a motherly instinct to her persona. As she was growing up, especially heading into her early 20s, Nicole was largely raised by her father, and to this day she has a really close relationship with him. Around the year 2008, World of Wonder sent out a casting call for Rupauls Drag Race Season 1, which I was actually able to find.
Hey Tyra, step back girl, the queen has returned. And you could tell Heidi, clear the runway. Hey boy. Miss RuPaul is back to pump some realness into reality. With that shape. Oh! I'm searching for America's fiercest drag queen. You've got to be an American Idol, a top model, and a fashion designer all rolled into one, okay? And you definitely got to be smarter than a 5th grader. Oh yeah, that's good TV. RuPaul's Drag Race is coming soon to Logo. I'm so excited about my new show. I'm really into it. It's going to be a competition reality show like you've never seen before. Now, move that bus. Move that bus. Move that bus.
This was the first glimpse people got of what the show even was. So Nicole saw this and went ahead and filmed an audition tape for it. There was also fan votes going on in different websites to try to hype up queens to be cast on season 1. And she was doing her best to try to locate people in her city to try to get noticed. Clearly, production ended up expressing interest for her and called her back to conduct a couple interviews. So she ended up calling her father to tell him that she might end up competing on a televised drag competition.
Hi, Daddy. Well, I was actually calling to tell you something else that I might have coming up. You know who RuPaul is? Well, she's doing a television show now out in LA. It's called The Drag Races. I'm in the process of being interviewed for it. So, I might be on television, so I figured I'd call and tell you. I figured I should let the family know what I'm doing with the name. Well, I love you. I just want to let you know, give you a heads up and tell you Happy Father's Day. Alright, bye.
Obviously, Nicole did not end up being part of the final cast for season 1, but it was clear that she knew she was already on World of Wonder's radar given how close she got on her first try. Little did she know, it would only take one more year before she was offered a spot on season 2. When fans talk about OG queens, it's sort of bittersweet, because you know that at the end of the day, a good portion of the newer fans don't have any interest in watching them because of how vastly different the show was back then. Season 2 was filmed in the summer of 2009 and aired in early 2010. Nicole still wasn't all that sure about what the show actually was. She just knew that it was gonna play a key role in shaping the drag world and really wanted to be a part of something monumental. In terms of drama, during her time on the show, while it was edited out of the final cut, apparently someone stole a picture that she had of Shauna Brooks, and somehow it mysteriously disappeared from the workroom, which she feels must have been one of the producers that took it away, so that she would blame one of the other queens and create some drama in the room. What's more is that Nicole was actually the first queen from Atlanta, Georgia to get cast on the show. Unfortunately, she had a really short journey. After walking in on episode 1 and getting settled in, by episode 2, after failing to do good in the stripping challenge, she placed in the bottom 2 against Raven and lost the lip sync, prompting RuPaul to tell her to sashay away. Looking back, she's admitted that she wasn't exactly all that competitive when she went into the show and didn't really like the cattiness that came from a lot of the other queens. Despite this, she did form close friendships with queens like Jujubee, Sahara Davenport, and especially Tatiana. The next time we get to see Nicole was on the season 2 reunion, where she got into a little argument with Raven, since Raven had confessionals that aired where she was reading Nicole to filth, despite Nicole thinking that Raven was actually one of her friends in the competition. It was one of those reunions where you can really tell the rawness in this situation, because the queens weren't being catty to each other to make good TV. They were doing it because that's truly who they were at their core, expressing their opinion without thinking twice. And also, just to show how different things were back then, here's a video that Nicole took while riding in a car with other season 2 girls to film the reunion, something that production would never allow today.
Anyway, we're on our way. Oh, look, I can see me on the technology.
After season 2 aired, coming out of Drag Race wasn't this huge fame and explosion for her like it is for queens now. It mostly just meant that more people wanted photos and some more recognition came from the fact that she was on the show. But when she came back to Atlanta, she sort of stuck to her local scene. Traveling wasn't really yet an option back then, so she wasn't chasing these big pride gigs internationally like queens do now. When it came to filming RuPaul's Drag Race, Nicole was mostly worried about how her family would react if she did or said something wild on TV. At that point, she didn't realize how big the show was gonna be. She was just trying to keep it together, which she thinks might have been why she didn't last very long. At that point, she had never spent time away from her son, and the stress and lack of sleep really got to her. In fact, once it was all said and done, looking back, she feels like she had shut down emotionally during filming. While other queens were making connections and forming alliances, she was mentally back home, worried about her kid, navigating guilt, and feeling lost in the process. Now, Nicole's son isn't her biological one, but she did play a key part in raising him, deciding to take on the role of a father figure. What's cool is how she introduced her son to her drag life from a really young age. She was even in her audition video. Basically, she never really hid her drag from him. She just sort of told him that her getting into drag was her putting on a McDonald's uniform. So from a kid's perspective, it was literally just Nicole getting ready to go to work. Nowadays, they live further apart and don't see each other as much, which has been hard. Nicole doesn't have legal custody since she's not his biological parent. Regardless, that's why a key theme to Nicole's drag persona is why so many people feel drawn to her, and that's her motherly presence, which is only further emphasized in her life experience. Being on season 2 was beneficial because even though the series was in its infancy, it ended up increasing Nicole's booking fees. Along with that, she went on to continue building her career within Atlanta. But things were different. Suddenly, her name was known everywhere. People were treating her like a celebrity, along with new opportunities coming up. Yet that never changed at all who she was as a drag queen. For a while, given that season 2 aired in 2010, over the next decade and a half, she saw how the franchise blew up into mainstream. The newer queens started becoming even more popular and opportunities started to expand to so many other avenues. What's more is how Nicole even inspired queens like Violet Chachki to continue down their path to greatness, because she saw a bright future ahead of her. For context, Next, before Violet was cast on season 7, Nicole gifted her a dress as an early sign of encouragement to what she thought was a rising star. Both queens were part of a local performance group known as the Godless Girls, which makes sense because they're both from Atlanta. Now, don't get me wrong, Violet is not Nicole's drag daughter, but it shows how interconnected some of these drag scenes are. Very soon though, Nicole started wanting to come back to the show again, this time through AllStars. Yet it was gonna take a long time before production finally provided her with an invite into AllStars 10. But before she got there, she was gonna have to go through a lot more chapters in her life, some of which were more challenging than others. One of the darker time periods of her life going into the 2010s decade was how she was in and out of an abusive relationship with her ex-boyfriend. She's explained how important it is for people to recognize when love crosses a certain boundary and urge people to run when that happens. She's admitted it's something she kept quiet about for a long time because, like so many people, she felt embarrassed. She said that there were moments where she'd sort of shame herself for allowing herself to be in that situation to begin with. Sometimes love can make people do crazy things, which is why people will sometimes endure these situations that normally they wouldn't have tolerated. Even being a drag queen in itself causes people who aren't even dating her to cross the line. People constantly come up to her, trying to buy her drinks, hug, kiss her, and it's hard to maintain a personal space or emotional clarity when that's just the norm in the nightlife. That blurred line made things even more complicated in her relationship, but she shared this story throughout recent years because she wants fans to know that they're not alone and that it's okay to walk away when things don't feel safe. I actually didn't know about her having dealt with an abusive relationship before doing research for this video. Obviously, just like most of you watching, I felt terrible about it because Nicole is such a nice, positive, bubbly energy that even imagining her feeling trapped in an abusive relationship just feels so wrong. But it did make me focus a lot more on her growth as a person over the past 15 years since the airing of season 2. Even in her original season, she had become a fully evolved version of her drag persona. And while the way she approaches doing drag never changed, the way she approached life in itself did. Nicole has also opened up about her arrest back in 2017 when she was pulled over for something as minor as a broken taillight. But things escalated quickly when police found several different drugs in her car, including marijuana and other drugs, along with some cash. It became a serious wake-up call. Part of that process meant stepping back from dating for a few years so that she could focus on healing and learning to trust again. Everything in her life felt like it was falling apart. So she decided she would change things. When she finally felt ready to give love another shot, she ended up meeting a guy in late 2018, who she's been happily dating to this day. Now, I know that what we just covered was pretty deep, but here's a story that is one of the cutest things I was able to uncover for this video. And actually, this is me ad-libbing my script right now, but this is literally my favorite thing that I found for one of my videos in a very long time. So straight up, you should give this video a like and comment below to help me out with the algorithm because we need a lot of people to see this. If you didn't know, there was a clip that went viral a couple years ago where Nicole got interviewed by someone at DragCon 2022 and mentioned how Bosco, who was on the current airing Drag Race season 14, knew who Nicole was. To which the interviewer is shocked about and says that she'd be freaking out if Bosco even became aware of her existence. But Nicole claps back with a perfect response.
Oh, yeah. And then Bosco tweeted that she met me and she was like high kicking about it.
Wait, no way.
Yeah, but she didn't tag me.
How are you not like freaking out about that?
Because I'm the icon and legend in this situation. She's the new girl.
But she also knows who you are.
I know she has cable, girl.
Do you know how much money I'd pay for her to know?
She didn't come here and do the interview yet. She won't forget this. No. I'll send her up here.
Really?
Now, I've posted this on Twitter a couple times because it's just amazing. Yet little did I know, there was a lot more to this story. Onthespotinterviews is a YouTube channel by a girl named Ava that has spent over a decade attending red carpets from various types of movies or TV shows and interviewing celebrities. So when I saw the clip of her and Nicole, I was shocked to find out not just that she had interviewed Nicole in the past, but also they had both actually had a really cute chemistry together. The first time our dear friends Ava and Nicole met was during DragCon 2019. Yes, that was 6 years ago now, but from the moment they first laid eyes upon each other, you could tell that they were gonna become good sisters.
Wait, this is gonna be so hard to do because you're so funny.
Okay, well, try to keep up.
I'm gonna try to.
You want me to do it? What's your name? Tell me your name again. Hi, it's Nicole Paige Brooks. I'm here live with Ava. What's your question, Ava?
Well, I'd love to know, you've been at DragCon since the beginning. How is the energy?
I actually skipped the first year. Thank you for doing your research. We won't have it.
You're making me laugh so much.
Oh, good.
It's been like the highlight of DragCon.
Oh, really? Okay, if I see her say that to anybody
I
else.
mean, it's family friendly.
Why are you scooting? Are you running away from me or something? How do we end up in the hallway? I'm like, why is she like, she's like, no, don't.
Obviously, between 2020 and 2021, there was no DragCon because of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns. Yet DragCon 2022 is the second time these two divas would cross paths. You know how Ava loved Bosco and was clearly fangirling over her with Nicole? Well, literally just 1 month later, she would get to interview Bosco for an event going on in West Hollywood.
Like I said, I wanted to speak to a DragCon and it was obviously very busy and strict, and here we are. So, and Nicole Paige Brooks wanted me to tell you hi.
Oh my God, I love NPG from Atlanta, Georgia. This thing is a drag icon. She is part of the drag lexicon. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it. The way that malicious gay faggotry has entered my vocabulary for the rest of my life, she's incredible. I am a huge Nicole Paige Brooks fan.
I am too. She told me, she's like, I'm going to go tell Bosco to go interview with you in the press room. And I'm like, you can't do that. Season 14 is... But she was like, I'm going to take you up. No, she's great. She told me my milkshake earrings look like tampons, but that's fine.
That sounds like a very Nicole thing to do. You should have told her that she smells like Chardonnay and cigarettes, and then
This essentially solidified the connection between Nicole and Ava, but their story didn't end there. At DragCon 2023, the story continues.
Didn't freak you out. Yeah.
And how are you and Bosco doing?
Oh, I actually haven't seen Bosco yet today.
Well, she's not here.
Oh.
I mean, doing online, because remember I made her follow you? She's like, is this the real account? And I was like, yes.
Yeah, I do remember that, and I appreciate that.
And finally, DragCon 2024.
I literally have a picture of you guys at Mickey's together.
Oh, okay, well, I was drinking, and I don't remember. But I'm glad that she got to meet me previous to this. She probably remembers it.
Because you're the icon and legend in
this situation. Yes, exactly.
Unfortunately, that's where their story ends, as this year there was no DragCon LA. Yet I thought this was such a cute connection and story that now expands over 6 years, so I really wanted to include it in my Nicole deep dive when I found out, since in a way it sort of highlights how personable Nicole is as a person. Of course, special shout out to On The Spot Interviews channels. All of these interactions will be linked in the description. So now we are in the year 2025. With that, we got the return of Nicole Paige Brooks to AllStar Season 10, where she made her debut on episode 4, with Bracket 2, aka the Pink Bracket. A total of 15 years had passed since she first competed on Season 2 in the year 2010. Now it was 2025, and not only was the fanbase a completely different monster now, but the show itself is super modernized. The challenges are different, expectations for runway packages are different, and considering Nicole only actually got to participate in 2 episodes of her original season, there was a lot of question marks on how she would do. But there was zero doubt that in terms of personality and entertainment department, she was gonna have no problem living up to it. Off the bat, Nicole had a somewhat rocky start, because given that the first challenge was a sewing/design one, she ended up struggling to come up with something. And what she delivered on stage compared to what everyone else brought, she wasn't exactly the most put together. It did come as a shock, since there was a little bit of an expectation that since she's been in the business for decades, that she would have picked up some sewing skills. Regardless, the 3 bracket episodes were all non-elimination formats, so she didn't have to worry about going home. The only thing was that if she didn't have enough points by the end of it, then she wasn't going to be able to qualify for the semifinals. At the beginning of Bracket 2 episode 2, the queens have their first ceremony of points being given. This is where obviously Mistress ends up duping Carrie and Nicole into giving her and Georges their points, only for Mistress and Georges to give each other their points, while Mistress and Georges now had 2 each. This was pretty much the moment that ended up screwing over Nicole moving forward, because it was close to impossible for her to come back from this. The second challenge was the rapping roast, which was my favorite concept out of all the verse challenges we get this season. It was clear that the queens had plenty of time going into the filming of the challenges to actually prepare some good read. Nicole's verse was actually a pretty cute one, yet it's her runway that really surprised me, because the cactus concept in itself was something that I don't think anyone could ever have seen her do. It was like she was probably properly keeping up with the modern expectations of the series. It's just, she then decides to take off the cactus into a reveal that ends up ruining the whole runway presentation completely and taking away from what could have been an overall good runway showcase for her. It sucks because it would have been cool to see her land in the top 2 for the episode, but unfortunately she once again ends up being just safe. By bracket 2 episode 3, we are now in the last challenge, and after the point ceremony, Nicole has a total of 1 singular point, the lowest out of everyone in her bracket. Now, while on paper she wasn't exactly doing the best, in every other department she sort of was. She was constantly getting into banter with other queens, held herself to a very high regard, and it was clear that despite her being from the older seasons and not necessarily being the most well known, she knew the value that she had as a performer, and it showed. Like, this was a queen that just felt so genuine in how she was expressing herself. Nothing about it felt manufactured or fake. And that's part of the reason why so many of the newer fans ended up gravitating towards her. Unfortunately, by the end of bracket 2, Nicole is not able to land in the top 3 highest scores, meaning that she would not be qualifying to the semifinals. What she didn't realize in this moment though was that while she didn't necessarily do all that well in All Stars 10, she would go on to win the hearts of the audience. And currently, it's safe to say that out of 18 queens that participated on this season, Nicole is for sure among the top 5 fan favorites that got the most amount of audience attention and support. And in a way, she's the true winner of this season. I mean, imagine if this had been the merge for the semifinals. The orange bracket should have clearly had Nicole, Nicole, and Nicole qualify. The pink bracket should have had Nicole, Nicole, Nicole qualify. And the purple bracket should have had Nicole, Nicole, and Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia qualify. So yeah, Nicole Paige Brooks might have only been on 2 episodes of season 2 over 15 years ago, but somehow that was all she needed to have the basis to what would go on to be the year when the rest of the world caught up to how iconic of an entity she is. Whether it was the name, the voice, the energy, or the mystery behind her, it's clear that most people seem to like her. And now, all these years later, she's not just a meme or a forgotten early out. She's having a real moment. The kind of moment that proves that sometimes all you need is to be yourself, and all of a sudden people are gonna be rallying around you. So if this video helped you get a deeper insight into her career and who she is, make sure to give this video a quick like, comment below, go support Nicole Paige Brooks on all social media platforms, because we need to spread the gospel of Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia. So if you want me to do a collaboration with Nicole, comment below, bring Nicole to the channel. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to click the link in the description, try your free trial at Squarespace, and when you're ready to launch, you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I want to take a moment to thank my patrons. In the Elite Pink Squad, we have Matthew Burns, Gay Uncles, Sari Tish, Natasha DeLeon, Las Potitas, Cool Gal Nan, and Jetsam Adams. And in the Green Squad, we have Cayman Rider Furry, Edgar Allan Pup, The Only Sean, IJS, Not a Punch, but a Keek, Jack Beck, Bashir with the Good Beard, Galeria Gomez, Sarah G, Boiled Peanut, Max Whale, Olivia Marr, Dea, Scarlet Rose, Niall O'Hearn, and Michael Alsante. If you'd like to see your name on the screen, you can support me on Patreon. The link will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video, and get ready for more.